Game started.
All right, Alma Dallin from Norway. All right, lots of Norwegian players. Let's try e4, I guess. Been playing c4, d4, knight f3. Time for e4, c5, a Sicilian. Okay, the classical line. The open Sicilian. And knight c3, defending the pawn. And now, okay, an unusual move. The main moves are the knight arf,
Server announcement.
Scheveningen, the classical with the knight, or the pawn here, g6 with the dragon. So what is bishop d7? It's it's a waiting move, waiting for me to declare my intentions. I'm going to play h3. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play bishop to e3 to support the knight, and I want to stop his knight from coming into g4. So I can play bishop e3 now. And I guess I will. It makes more sense actually when the knight's still here and black's not playing e5, but I think this is still an okay square for the bishop. It's got to go somewhere. Now he can play with a quick b5, b4, dislodge the knight and try to win this pawn. In this particular setup, since I played h3. So I'm going to put my bishop on d3, a bit unusual in a Sicilian, but I want to defend this and allow the knight to move. And then castle on the king side. So I think black got what he wanted by playing the unusual move bishop d7. He got a position where we're not in theory, or at least not any theory that I know. But this should be okay for me. King h1 is to prepare f4, which I'm going to play now. He can take, and it'll leave him with the backwards d pawn. He can ignore it, and I can push on with f5 and maybe try and get a kingside attack going, taking advantage of maybe the somewhat cramped position over here. And when he plays b4, if he does, I'm just going to bring my knight over to the king side. That's my plan. And the bishop here has an additional job, which is to support the c-pawn against the c-file pressure. So all in all, I'm okay with this setup. Why don't I even move the knight now? I really don't want to play knight to d5 because he can take it, and then I'll have to take back with a pawn, and that will protect his d-pawn, which can become a weakness, and so I don't want to help him out by protecting it automatically. So maybe I want to play queen e1 to g3, or maybe I want to push f5 first. f5, queen e1 to g3, bishop to here. Hard to say. Oh, after f5 I can place my bishop on f5 and queen h here. Okay, he wants to take the knight. If he wants to take that knight, he can have it. Okay, I'm going to play queen e1 first. So my plan is f5, queen g3, and bishop h7. And if knight takes knight, I take with the rook pawn, opening up an attack on his a-pawn here, his pawn on a6. He might want to play knight to yeah, knight to c4. That's a bit annoying. It's the bishop, and right now my bishop is doing an important job defending my light squared bishop is defending e4. So I don't want to move it right now. Otherwise, normally you take. You normally give up the light squared bishop for this knight, because the dark squared bishop will play a role in the attack later. If we back up, hold on a second. Here, here, no. Okay, I was wondering if I had a chance to take his knight, but I could have traded, but my queen didn't come here till later. Okay, so now Almadalen is thinking. Yeah, it's a tricky position. Black is probably okay here. I don't see that he's done anything wrong, and my bishop is a bit awkward here, really. Okay, I wanted to play f5 anyway. If he brings his knight in here, I could take it. If he brings his knight in here, I can take it. His move, however, did stop me from playing queen to g3. The knight covers g3. I mean, queen to g3. I could play knight to g3. Knight takes, queen takes, or knight to g3. Oh, he's going after my dark squared bishop. So we take there, then I think I'm going to, well, I can't prevent him from trading, but maybe I'll let him take, and then my queen comes to c1 here and defends b2. And in the meantime, I can play g4 here, attacking his knight, defending my f5 pawn, and his knight can't jump into these squares because they're covered by my knight. So I think it's a good time to kick that knight right now. Not let a moment go by. But this was probably a good move. This kind of forces this trade I didn't want to make. The dark squared bishop is actually his bad bishop in this structure, so he's gotten rid of it and left me with a bad bishop. So now I could take his knight. Well, now I need to defend this pawn. Okay, now I have queen to... well, if I play my queen up, he can take the b pawn. So let's decide. Maybe knight to... yeah, this guy's not doing anything immediately. So knight here. I'm going to just harass this guy a little bit. If he doesn't do anything, I can play b3 to force him to move. If I take, he takes with a pawn, and then my bishop is trapped. I could take with the bishop. And if he takes with the rook, I play c3. And if he takes with the pawn, I can... if he takes with the pawn. So bishop takes, pawn takes. What do I want? I have two knights here, three pawns, and he's got kind of isolated pawns. Maybe play. Well, I'm wondering about c3, but c3 in response to pawn takes there. Yeah, it's going to leave me the hard to defend pawn here. And okay, he's got two guys on it already. I have two defenders, but he can always trade one off. So, and also, let's see, this is a pin. Let's bring another knight in to defend, e4. Now, am I threatening to take? Knight takes, pawn takes, knight takes. He has bishop takes here. Knight takes, knight takes. And he would have two extra pawns in the center, and I have two extra pawns on the queen side. Kind of a funny situation. Okay, so I think, yeah, he's got a possibility of invading here with the knight. I think it's time to kick that knight, though. Let it invade. Let the knight invade. I'll try and find a way to deal with that. Post-invasion. Okay, but he decided to just take. He could have played, the invasion I was talking about was knight to d3, which would be a bit annoying. Okay, so now he's opening up this diagonal towards my king. He's dissolving his weak d-pawn, which is good for him. Takes, bishop takes check. Bishop here. Knight takes. Yeah, so after bishop takes check, probably just king to... king to h2. Pawn takes, bishop takes check, king h2. And what does he have? He's not hitting anything with the bishop. I have a backward c-pawn now. I can develop my other rook, though. Let's see, his knight is not yet threatening to come in there. Yeah, I think take.
Check.
I guess he does have e5. He could have played e4 immediately because he's got two defenders and only have two attackers. But he put a rook there first, so I will follow suit and put a rook there. So I put a knight here, then yeah, I can't do that, right? Well, let's think. Knight here, knight takes. Rook takes, bishop takes. Bishop takes, my queen is hanging at the end of all of that. I really need to get out from that pin. And stop e5. I think, yeah, he probably should have just played e5 when he had the chance. Oh, he's playing it now. Oh, I didn't stop it. He's got 4 pieces on it. A counting error. Okay, so knight takes, bishop takes, knight takes, queen takes, rook takes. It's just all bad. And my bishop is trapped, of course. So I can attack his knight, but when he takes my bishop, I can take his rook, but he can take back with the knight. Okay, so queen here. His queen is hanging. So he needs to respond. Queen takes, rook takes, then pawn takes, rook takes, rook takes, pawn takes. Now I'm just going to be down a piece. Okay, so I should try attacking his knight. Try and mix things up a bit. Yeah, there's no tempo that I can figure out here. I mean, I can attack the queen, which is undefended. But he always has this idea of taking the rook. And then saving his knight. Oh, he plays the knight there. Is that good? I'm not threatening checkmate anymore. You know, I had the queen and a rook and a battery here. There was a checkmate threat on the back rank, but it's not there anymore. So knight takes, and he was threatening my queen, so I probably needed to take. And now pawn takes. Yeah, so I'm just getting a pawn for the piece. A very meager showing.
Check.
Oh, that looks good. Let's see, can I walk anywhere? I guess I can walk here. Most places I go to, I walk into a check from the bishop, which I don't want. Couldn't go here, and then the light squares. I'm in for the discovered check, so I went here. You can check me again. This way, yeah. Yeah, it's going to force it. Yeah, nice play. Nice play from my Norwegian friend here. So he's going to trade queens, and when my king is here, then he can take the rook with a discovered attack.
Check.
And take the other rook, and then he's just 2 pieces up. Pretty amazing.
White resigns.
So he played one final move, but there was no
Incoming
need to
challenge.
wait for that. And so anyway, interesting game. I'm going to upload this and do a post-mortem. See you guys later.